Woohoo! Morning, Trainiacs. Just finished a really solid run. 1 hour, 18 minutes, 16 kilometers, averaging 4:51 per kilometer. So we're talking, let's do some Canadian math here. Just under 10 miles at a 8:10 per mile? Guessing. So you saw me run in and review the Nike Vaporfly Flyknit 4%. What I've been trying is the Nike Pegasus Turbo 35, which is kind of the day-to-day version of that shoe. I'm gonna review this, but it's not gonna be as glowing a review as you might expect based off of how much I supported that $300 4% shoe and am going to continue racing in it. This I like, but opinion is slightly different on it. Time for a shake. All right, Trainiacs, let's talk about these. These are the Nike Pegasus 35 Turbos. Now, these are kind of a mishmash or attempt to replace or supplement one of a couple of different shoes. It's supposed to be either the lighter, springier, more racing version of the Pegasus 35 itself, or the more everyday trainer compared to the Nike Vaporfly 4%. I'm going to do another entire video comparing this to the Nike Vaporfly 4% because these are as well a fairly expensive shoe, so the people that are buying that 4% might also be considering this as a better option that is slightly less expensive. They're probably more comparable. They've got the same midsole, and I'm going to compare this more to the everyday trainer, the Pegasus itself. Now, this is lighter than that Pegasus. The Pegasus comes in at 9.4 ounces. This comes in at 7.9 ounces. This is much more expensive, though, than the Pegasus. Pegasus obviously wasn't much of a good seller. It's been marked down to $50 from $120, whereas this was marketed at $180 regular price. Now, I haven't tried the Pegasus, but my first impression of this is good but mixed results. Now, whereas on paper that Pegasus looks like a very meat and potatoes, general road training kind of shoe, your high mileage kind of shoe that's gonna last a long time, doesn't break the bank, I don't really know where this shoe fits because it's got aspects of a really fast shoe, and it is fairly fast, but then it has some aspects of being a everyday trainer, but aspects of it that really don't do a good job of that. So compared to the Pegasus itself, it has the same 10 millimeter heel to toe drop on this. It's a 28 millimeter heel, a 18 millimeter forefoot. It also has the rubber outsole so that hopefully it lasts a little bit longer, which does seem a little peculiar based off something I'm going to tell you a little bit later. And it is marketed as that everyday trainer. It's structured as that everyday trainer. The tongue in it is fairly big and squishy. The heel cup, as you can see, really big and structured, thick. It doesn't really breathe like a light 7.9 ounce shoe. It breathes more like that 9.4 ounce Pegasus. They're kind of similar. But where it becomes a shoe that saves that weight, going from the 9.4 ounces of the Pegasus to the 7.9 ounces of this, and where it becomes a shoe that I'm not really sure where it fits is in the sole. So what they've used in the foam of the sole of this shoe is the same foam that is in the Nike Vaporfly 4%. Great, you might be saying, but that actually comes with a huge downside. That foam is the ZoomX Foam, and it is the springiest foam. It has the most energy return available in any shoe that you could manufacture, but it is also the least durable foam that you could choose in a shoe. So here we have this shoe that is marketed as your everyday trainer, the one that you can use time in, time out, but it's going to break down really quickly, much more like a racing flat. In which case, this doesn't really compare with the old Pegasus, which you put in a ton of miles on and use as your day-to-day trainer. It more compares to that expensive Vaporfly 4%. In which case, is it as fast? No, it isn't, because it only has the foam in the sole. It doesn't have the carbon plate in the sole like the 4% does. In testing done by third parties with that 4%, they started looking at, is the added benefit to that 4% a result of the carbon fiber in the insole, or is it a result of the ZoomX Foam? And what they found is that it's both combined. So here we have half of what makes that 4% shoe really, really good. And it ends up just kind of feeling like a regular everyday trainer that is really expensive, coming in at $180 and isn't going to last very long. So if it was just a racing flat and it was marketed as a racing flat, great, it would do well. You can actually run really fast in this. I did some kilometers today, getting down to around 410 per kilometer. It's smooth. It's got that nice rolling heel that kind of gets you forced to go forward and get up on your midfoot and forefoot. It moves really well. It's light. It's that 7.9 ounces. It is more expensive, like a lot of racing flats. And when you look at the dollar per mile coming in at $180, but not lasting very long, kind of similar to racing flats. But if you're going to buy a racing flat, why don't you just then buy the 4%? And that's where I'm kind of unsure about what this shoe is trying to be, because Nike already has set the standard for that fast shoe, and they've created something here that isn't going to last very long. So it's also not a everyday racing shoe, and they've also used foam that's going to cause this to break down. So it's also not really an everyday trainer. It's more expensive. You're going to go through it a lot. Even though it is a nice ride, a really enjoyable shoe. I like it, it's comfortable. It's got a lot better grip because of the rubber outsole than the Vaporfly has, which gets kind of slippery on wet surfaces. It's lighter than a lot of everyday trainers, but I just can't realistically buy this every month knowing that after 100 miles, it's gonna have to be replaced. So then who should buy this shoe? Well, frankly, I would say if you are a fan of the Vaporfly 4% and you are curious and money isn't an object, go ahead and buy this shoe. More just for curiosity's sake, but it's going to be an expensive test. You're going to get yourself a very good quality shoe. You're not going to be disappointed. The sizing in this is accurate, where you do have to buy a half size up in the Vaporfly 4%. This is accurate. You can buy the exact same size that you normally use. I wouldn't necessarily consider using this barefoot because this big heel cup is just like, that's blister city right there. Your foot isn't going to breathe terribly well in this because it is a little bit thicker all around the exterior of this. But you're not going to turn this into a shoe that you use for months and months on end, like a Hoka, like an on-running Cloud, like the Saucony Kinvara, like a pair of Asics. This is kind of, I think personally, just a way that Nike is able to get a lower price point and have some of the same marketing with that ZoomX Foam. So remember when I said that we would do the ranking on a scale of 0 to 5 Trainiac heads, where 5 is everyone should get this, 0 is don't even think about it, 1 is like knock yourself out if you really want to, but don't expect it to do anything. I'd probably rank this as a 1, not because it's a bad shoe. I actually think it's a really good shoe. I just think that there are better options based off of what you're looking for. So I like it. I run in it a lot. It's just too pricey and not well designed enough for the purpose of what I would use it for. So there you go, Trainiacs. That is the Nike Pegasus 35 Turbo. Stay tuned. Right within the next couple of days, I'm going to compare this side by side with the Vaporfly 4%. And if you aren't already subscribed, you want to make sure that you get that video when it comes out. Hit the subscribe button below. Later, Trainiacs.